The woman in apartment 302. The door that no one opened. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear isn't a movie, it's real. It's one of the most baffling missing person cases in modern American history. It's the story of a young woman who vanished from her locked apartment, leaving behind every trace of a normal life, except herself. This is the woman in apartment 302. The door that no one opened. Jennifer Kesse was 24 years old, living in Orlando, Florida. She had everything going for her: a new job, a new condo, a bright future. She just returned from a weekend trip with her boyfriend, Rob, and was planning to go back to work on January 24th, 2006. That night, she called Rob from her apartment, told him she'd unpacked, showered, and was getting ready for bed. It was a casual conversation, the kind couples have every day. They said goodnight around 10 p.m. It was the last time anyone ever heard her voice. The next morning, Jennifer didn't show up for work. That was unusual. She was punctual to the minute. Her co-workers tried calling, but she didn't answer. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Hours passed, and her boss, worried, called her parents, Drew and Joyce Kesse. They immediately knew something was wrong. Jennifer never ignored her phone. By that afternoon, they were on the road from Tampa to Orlando. When they arrived at her condo complex, everything seemed normal, too normal. Her black Chevy Malibu was missing, but her front door was locked. Inside apartment 302, the signs of her morning routine were all there. A damp towel hung on the shower rack. Clothes were laid out neatly on the bed. Her outfit for work. Makeup was open on the counter. Her phone charger was plugged in. It looked like she had gotten ready to leave and simply vanished before walking out the door. There were no signs of a struggle. Nothing was broken or out of place. It was as if she had walked out for a moment and never came back. Police arrived that evening, took notes, and initially treated it as a possible voluntary disappearance. But her family pushed back. Jennifer was responsible. She'd just gotten promoted at work. She was making mortgage payments. Nothing about her life pointed toward running away. That night, a search began around the complex. Officers went door to door, questioning neighbors and checking the property. One neighbor remembered seeing Jennifer's car parked outside early that morning, but by 10 a.m., it was gone. Another neighbor recalled hearing a door slam around 7:30 a.m., but didn't think much of it. The complex was under renovation at the time. Hundreds of construction workers, contractors, and temporary employees came and went daily. Most of them didn't live there, and none were required to register with the building management. Detectives would later say that made the investigation a nightmare. 2 days later, a major break, or what seemed like one. Jennifer's car was found abandoned at another apartment complex, about a mile away. Detectives rushed to the scene. The car was parked neatly, as if by someone who wanted it to blend in. No keys, no wallet, no phone. A forensic team dusted the vehicle and discovered a few partial prints, but none were usable. Her personal items, including her purse and phone, were missing. Surveillance footage from the complex provided a single grainy clue. At 12 p.m. the day after Jennifer vanished, a figure was seen parking her car, stepping out, and walking away. Detectives froze the frame, but what they saw made their blood run cold. The individual's face was completely obscured by a fence post. Every frame of the short clip, each time the head passed by, it was hidden by the post. Investigators described it as a cruel coincidence. The person appeared to be male, wearing work clothes, a white shirt and dark pants. He walked with confidence, not in a rush, and disappeared out of frame. To this day, that 30-second clip remains the only known image of the person who may have last seen Jennifer alive. Detectives canvassed the area for witnesses, but no one recognized the figure. The car was processed, but beyond a few smudged prints, it held no usable evidence. Police did find one strange detail. The driver's seat had been adjusted far back, suggesting someone much taller than Jennifer had been behind the wheel. Over the next week, the case dominated Orlando headlines. Posters of Jennifer's face covered streetlights and bulletin boards. Her family appeared on every local news station, pleading for information. "Someone knows something," her father said tearfully. But tips came and went, none leading anywhere. Detectives interviewed construction workers, co-workers, ex-boyfriends, and strangers from her apartment complex. One maintenance worker claimed to have seen a woman matching Jennifer's description speaking to a man in the parking lot early that morning. But his story changed under questioning, and he later disappeared from the area. The Kesse family hired private investigators. They discovered that several female residents of Jennifer's complex had complained about catcalling and being followed by construction workers. Jennifer herself had told her parents she felt uneasy about them watching her. One of her friends remembered her saying, "Sometimes I feel like they're staring right into my windows." That comment, made just days before her disappearance, would later haunt her family. Still, no suspect was ever arrested. No physical evidence linked anyone to her case. Months turned into years. Leads dried up. Every once in a while, new theories emerged that she'd been kidnapped by someone she knew, or perhaps taken by a stranger while leaving for work. But every theory collapsed under lack of proof. In 2018, more than a decade after Jennifer's disappearance, her parents won a lawsuit against the Orlando Police Department to gain access to her case files. What they found stunned them. Over 14,000 pages of notes, reports, and leads, most of which had never been followed up. Evidence photos were missing. Witness statements were incomplete. One detective even wrote that suspect identification is impossible due to camera obstruction, and moved on from a video entirely. It was as if the investigation had been frozen in time, just like Jennifer's apartment. Forensic experts later re-examined the footage using enhanced imaging, and while the face still couldn't be identified, they noted details the original investigators missed. The suspect's gait was unusual, favoring the left leg slightly, and the clothing appeared to be a uniform consistent with local property maintenance or construction crews. That finding reopened public discussion. Could the person responsible have been one of the very workers hired to fix her building? The Kesse family believed so. They continued to push for national attention. Documentaries were made, and tip lines reopened. The FBI even reviewed the case. But as of 2025, no charges have ever been filed. Jennifer Kesse remains missing. Her parents maintain her condo in the same condition as the day she vanished. Her clothes folded, her toothbrush by the sink, her perfume still on the dresser. It's become a frozen memorial, a snapshot of a life interrupted. In interviews, her mother still says, "We believe she was taken by someone she saw every day." And that belief has never wavered, because somewhere out there, the person who parked her car and walked away under that camera still exists. Maybe they're still in Orlando. Maybe they moved on, changed names, started over. But every time the footage plays on a newscast, the same white shirt, the same stride, it's a reminder of how close the world came to seeing the truth, and how a single fence post kept it hidden forever. If this story haunted you, don't forget to subscribe, because next time, we're going deeper into another case where the truth was right in front of everyone, but no one saw it. Because in the world of true crime, sometimes the scariest part isn't what's missing. It's what's hiding in plain sight.